Welcome to the Hookup on Music with your host, Tony Bird.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's The Hookup on Music. This is episode 132, and I am Tony, your host for this evening. If you can, take a look right above me here. There is a QR code. Go ahead and scan that, and you can see that we are part of a really, really awesome donation. So go ahead and take a look at that if you can. But also, we're here tonight to celebrate my favorite holiday. Let's just get this out of the way. Halloween is my favorite holiday. And Halloween is always just loaded with good fun, good music, and supposedly some good times. That's really what you're looking for, dressing up. Whole lot of cool stuff. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about here tonight. Just a lot of different cool music that straddles around the whole entire rock and roll atmosphere and rap atmosphere. We'll see where everything takes us tonight. But how have you been doing out there? If you can, go ahead and what's the word I'm looking for here? Check out in the comments there and let us know what some of the things that you've been listening to lately. We like to take a look at different stuff, listen to different music. That's our main thing here, is to dig into so many different types of music and so many different artists and genres, and really anything that just strikes your fancy. I haven't even gotten back to my main man, Mike, who's been on the show here. He has sent me some really good live music from Moine, saying that the drums on this by Valentina is amazing. And currently right here live on the show, I'm going to message him back and say, I can't wait to hear, because it's true. I can't. Everything that he sends me is awesome. And that's why it's also important to always send music to people and to give yourself an opportunity to share some of this stuff, because it's coming from all different directions all the time. And I can't say how appreciative I'm of getting all this type of music and different stuff, because it really helps through the week, but don't need much help through the week of Halloween, because playing lots of scary tunes, playing lots of scary movies, excited to hit up some tricks or treats, love decorations. There isn't really anything I don't love about Halloween. But you know, what do you love about Halloween? There's always cool things going on. In my mind, always, though, is a Halloween party, which is awesome Halloween music playing all the time. That's always really cool. But let's get into what we're talking about here tonight. We got a little bit of Tame Impala, who we kind of talked about last week. Their new album just dropped. But going a little bit deeper into them, because we just kind of talked about their album. They kind of got started in 2007, all the way in Australia. And now they've gone from there all the way to Chicago, playing a show coming up at the United Center in the next week or two. It's going to be really cool if you get an opportunity to see that. Kevin Parker, this is his project pretty much, is he puts together all the music, which happens to be a mixture of a lot of different sounds. There's jamming, there's phasing, there's reverb, there's fuzz, there's delay, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. But what is definitely also going on is there are beats that you can move and you can kind of get down and groove to, which is, I think, always an important part if you are putting on a Halloween party, which makes them a really good, important part of that. They also like to take a lot of their influence from 60s and 70s psychedelic rock. So you got a lot of that going on. Also combining things like the Flaming Lips and My Bloody Valentine and the big, huge walls of sound. With their last album that we were covering last week, Deadbeat, which is what it's called, they put out some new live video of them just jamming. And his voice sounds really, really good. And also sounding really, really good is the guitars that he plays and uses, and some of the pedals. When you really think about it, how many guitar pedals are out there in the world? That is a question. It sounds like how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop? I could be wrong. The world may never know, but it just seems like there are so many cool pedals that do so many different sounds. And Kevin Parker really plays around with a lot of those sounds, which makes for really good music and a really good time. But if you're looking for a good live band or a good live act to go see, their last couple albums before Deadbeat, Currents and The Slow Rush, which all came out about 5 years apart. So since 2015, only 3 albums, but these albums are loaded. And to say that they are going to not put on a good show, I kind of cheat sometimes, and I go online to the YouTube, and you could already see like the full performance of their first show that's coming up. And honestly, it looks like they are putting on a really, really cool show. It looks like the stage setup is really awesome. It looks like you're going to get your money's worth if you happen to check them out. But if you don't get to go check them out and you're looking at like, what should I dig into? I'm digging into that new album. All the tracks on that one are really, really good. A lot of good beats. But the slow rush was really good too. Whatever you're a fan of, you can kind of see a lot of those influences in Tame Impala, even if you're a fan of more poppier stuff or more stuff that seems to fly under the radar. They seem to cover a lot of different genres, which makes them really, really cool. And if you're looking live here online, you could see a little bit of just the stage and the lights and how they got everything going, which makes for a good time. You know what I mean? If you're throwing even a Halloween party in your basement, you'd like to use the same lighting system that Tame Impala seems to be using because, you know, a cool lighting system seems to make all the difference in so many different things. But yeah, so I'm saying go back and check these guys out if you haven't. And even if you are, well, I've kind of heard of them, maybe some of their newer stuff, and you haven't checked out their older stuff. Their older albums are is equally as awesome as their newer albums that I've discussed. Lonerism from 2012, really great album with the song Elephant. You'll hear this song and you'll make it seem like these guys can really be heavy too, which is cool. I always like a lot of music that spans different, like I said earlier, genres that you can hear, not just one thing. You don't know really what you're getting into. So, like if you're listening to the new album, it starts off with kind of like a minute and a half of just a piano that sounds like it's an older piano, and you're saying like, "Is this where's this?" And then all of a sudden, it just takes off like a spaceship, which is exactly how you like music sometimes, if that's what you're calling for. If you're looking for something a little bit more like just quiet and laid back and subdued, they do have a couple of those songs, but get ready for a little bit more of a thumping experience. Going from there, we still down here at the Hookup on Music are kind of sad from the past, and I don't mean kind of, really sad from the passing of Ace Frehley from Kiss. He was the coolest member of the band by, to me, a quite large margin, and I like Kiss quite a lot. But some of the things that, you know, some of the other members, you know, we're not going to get to that. We're just going to talk about how awesome some of these album covers are. Because first of all, how many people who have not dressed up as like a superhero for Halloween? Kiss are kind of like like back in the 70s, especially. Now they're a little bit, you know, very over commercialized, the current Kiss brand. But if you're going back to those original years, those original 6, 7, 8 years, you're talking about a completely different beast. That if you haven't really watched many videos, which they are on YouTube, you can go back and check out those performances. You could see just what I'm talking about, a different kind of band. But that being said, one thing about this band is that they had some really awesome album covers, to the point where you're really wanting to say, hey, you know what I mean? Like, this is why these kind of album covers stick out in the Halloween genre, especially this one that is currently here on the screen, Destroyer, a great album that has Detroit Rock City, King of the Nighttime World, Beth, Shout It Out Loud. But again, this is really cool in the fact that they got them to be almost cartoonized. Cartoonized, I don't even know if that's a word, but definitely is a interesting word in a way, shape, or form. But we'll run with it, cartoonized. But if you haven't sat down and listened to Destroyer, what makes it even cooler listening to a track like God of Thunder on the album is actually just staring at the album cover. because it looks like they're like jumping out of some kind of explosion, some kind of out of this world place. And I think that's what kind of makes them having some really cool album covers, especially from the 70s. Um, their debut album, which was just self-titled, if you just go to the record store and you say to yourself, this album, Kiss, they've become pretty popular. A lot of people have listened to them, but this debut album didn't sell anything. Which makes you think, what did people think when they first saw this album cover at the store? Sometimes I don't know if back then bands were judged on their albums, their album labels. Kiss was on Casablanca Records, which, if you're not familiar with Casablanca, they were a little bit known for more of a disco label. So like Kiss was really one of their only hard rocking acts that was super popular. So I don't know if they didn't know how to market them at first, but what everybody knew about them wasn't really their album covers, even was their live show, which, I mean, when you think about awesome things that you can see at a live show, I mean, Kiss had it all, and especially definitely in the regards of, Halloween props. I mean, Ace Frehley himself had a guitar that just smoke came out of, which I'm curious to see who actually owns that guitar right now. I know at one point Dimebag Darrell from Pantera owned it, but currently I don't know who owns it. That's a good research question to look into. But also, this next cover is probably one of my favorite Kiss album covers, and it's the Rock and Roll Over album, which again cartoonized Kiss in even a more way that shows just honestly how they kind of are like superheroes in their own way. Everyone's got their own little personality. And not only that, it makes for a really cool album cover. I mean, if you look at the full album cover, it's a lot bigger than if you're just staring at it on the screen, which if you're just listening also and you're not familiar with the Rock and Roll album cover, it has their four faces, almost kind of like a diamond or like an X. And they're all doing like whatever their superhero thing is. You got Ace shooting lasers out of his eyes. You got Gene's tongue out, and you got the cat being the cat. But definitely a very cool album cover in a lot of different ways when you really, really think about it. But keeping digging further through here, as we get later, to me, Kiss, album covers. Okay, so from that album cover to this album cover, you know what I'm saying? It's a couple years, and this album cover just doesn't hit like that last album cover does. It's a little weak, if you really ask me. And if you really ask the fans of the band too, the album itself was a little bit weak. They decided to pick up some disco leanings. Not to say that I Was Made for Loving You or Sure Know Something aren't bangers in their own way and wouldn't fit greatly on a Halloween playlist, but those songs just don't fit into the Detroit Rock City, Strutter, Love Gun, any track like that. It just does not fit into that category to what the band was trying to produce or do or say. But in this regard, they really tried to, I don't know what they were trying to do. Gene looks like he saw somebody breaking into his house. I'll just leave it like that. I won't go into a more of a dirty realm, but it just looks like he wasn't prepared for the photo, and everyone else looks like they've checked out. But you know what I mean? It makes it interesting that they decided to roll with that cover. Because if you back it up then to their third album cover here, Dressed to Kill, I like this album cover. This is another one of my favorites because it's got the band literally dressed in tuxedos. And for me, this is the first one that I saw because it was on an 8-track that I found. People don't talk about 8-tracks anymore. They should talk about more about 8-tracks. That could be the new thing that people bring back. No, I'm kidding. It'd be cool if you give those away for Halloween. Trick or treat. Here's an 8-track. But that being said, Dressed to Kill is definitely a really cool album. There's a lot of good songs on this one. She is really awesome. Rock Bottom. Also really awesome is just the way that the song Rock and Roll All Night has taken off. Personally, that would be, honestly, if I was to list all of the Kiss songs, even the ones on Dynasty, Rock and Roll All Night is not one of my personal favorites, but I think it's just because it's very played a lot. And a lot of people, when you bring up Kiss, that's all they know. And they just have a lot more better songs than that. And they really just don't get the credit for that at all. Um, but one thing before we dig into this, I think we're just going to call this the album of the week. We're going to call this the album of the year. No, I'm just kidding. It can't be the album of the year because it came out back in 96, but we're just going to call it the artist of the week. Which really just gives me the opportunity to drink some water because I'm thirsty. But when's the last time you sat down and just put on your headphones and dug into the Lost Boys soundtrack? Or, for that matter of fact, sat down and just watched the movie. But we're not here to talk about the movie, which we can talk about it a lot. But this soundtrack, I just want to sit and dig into this soundtrack a little bit. And I want to say right off the bat, it's a good soundtrack. It is really good soundtrack. And it is loaded with lots of good artists. Everyone from, what's the word I'm looking for? Everyone from the Echo and the Bunnymen to the very, very, very awesome INXS to Tim Capello, which you may be saying to yourself, Tim Capello is, I'm not too familiar with him, but if you are not familiar with the song I Still Believe, then really, where have you been? But that being said, before that going through, let's start with Good Times by INXS. It's a good one with Jimmy Barnes and INXS. Lost in the Shadows. This song is really awesome by Lou Gramm. And Lou Gramm of Foreigner fame. You're saying to yourself, Lou Gramm? I don't know who that is. But in the movie, if you're familiar, there is a motorcycle chase scene. And in this motorcycle chase scene is the song Lost in the Shadows, which I'm not lying. I've seen the movie millions of times, but I've never sat down until about 2 weeks ago and listened to this full track. It rocks, because you only hear it in the movie. In the movie, it's like 1:12, but the actual song is like over 4 or 5 minutes, but it's really worth digging into. Probably one of my favorites on the album, if you skip down to track 5, is the cover by Echo and the Bunnymen of People Are Strange. When you think of the Doors, they don't come to be a band that I find to be very easy to cover. Because a lot of people either overdo Jim Morrison, they don't really know how to make up for Ray Manzarek's keyboards when they're covering it. So the cover of Echo and the Bunnymen doing People Are Strange, honestly, it is an awesome, awesome cover. And it kind of kicks off the movie too, and makes you think a little bit about what's really going to be happening in this movie and what kind of strange people are we digging into in all types of fashion. I mean, Cry Little Sister, the actual theme by Gerard McMahon. I don't know much about Gerard McMahon, okay? All I know is he does the Cry Little Sister song. And when you click on them and you try to learn a little bit more, that's pretty much all they tell you. But if I only did Cry Little Sister, I probably would. If the Hookup on Music only did Cry Little Sister as number one, like if that's what I came up with, I don't know if there would have been a Hookup on Music episode 2. But, so really good, as the amazing Mailman Jack says here, really, really good soundtrack. A song that really gets me every single time, and honestly, it comes out of left field for me. I've seen the movie, I say it again, at the millions of times, but next time you sit down and watch this movie, get to the credits. And when you're to the credits, sit and watch the credits, because Roger Daltrey does a cover of Elton John's "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me," and it really, honestly, it fits perfect for this movie. And when you really think about like vampires and stuff, it's a really kind of cool track to have at the end. But other tracks on here, again, I Still Believe, as stated by Tim Capello, is awesome. Laying Down the Law, INXS doing 2 tracks on the album. Double the Duty, that is definitely awesome. And Thomas Newman rounds it up to the shock of Miss Louise. But again, great soundtrack. And honestly, I'm looking over there at the vinyls, and I don't know why I don't have it on vinyl. It's something that I just definitely got to work towards and get, because it's definitely a classic in a lot of different ways. And the movie itself is a classic. We talk a lot on at the show about the music in movies, but this one is just the way it's placed in all of the scenes. For me, it really makes for a really, really um, great soundtrack. And back to Tim Capello, the "I Still Believe" song, that's a cover of The Call, which if you are, not familiar with, The Call, The Call's got some jams. Go back and listen to some The Call, really good stuff there. But this soundtrack is just really good, and it's definitely should be on like anybody's Halloween playlist, really, when you think about it. My Morning Jacket just was in town this past week for three shows at the Salt Shed. You say, three shows at the Salt Shed, they probably played the same song every single night. No, I don't believe they played any of the same song any of the single night. And when I'm doing the math here pretty quickly, it's adding up to, right here, I got the number here. It's adding up to just about 65 different My Morning Jacket songs that if you went to all of the shows, you got to hear. And just being able to hear 18 of the same songs for 3 nights in a row would be magic. Literally, that's one of their new tracks that is really awesome. But this last show, they dug into the Z album, which has a really cool album cover, and they played that whole record. But I think this band just loves to play live, and they do it really, really well. And if there was any band that I can take every single Hookup on Music fan and we could just rock out on a whole wing of any kind of concert venue, it would definitely be My Morning Jacket for many different reasons. Again, another great live band. Earlier, we talked about Tame Impala. My Morning Jacket also fits into that category. All of their studio albums are worth the time for you to get into if you are looking for something that hits a lot of different genres. But again, a good live show. Currently continuing on their tour. You say to yourself, playing 3 nights in Chicago, you got to have some time off. Well, they had 2 nights off, and then they played Nashville, Tennessee, which is cool because then you get to dig back into the catalog and see what you're going to play at a new city. So very, very cool. Saw a lot of awesome stuff from here. A lot of awesome sound footage, good stuff. You get an opportunity to see them live. Seeing them a couple times is life-changing. I know somebody who's seen them over 16 times. I think that's even more amazing because if I really had that unlimited credit card that I talk about that has just unlimited concert funds on it that one day the Hookup on Music will have, I wouldn't have missed any one of these 3 shows. I would have definitely been to at least all 3 of them. Let's just say at least all 3 of them. And just mentioning here in the comments too, going currently right now on is David Byrne. Honestly, earlier today, funny you should bring that up, is I looked into seeing what was the set list being played for some of those David Byrne shows, and I like it. It's a really nice mix of like 6 new tracks off his new album, a couple other solo tracks. He digs into some of my favorite Talking Head songs. I'll just say he plays Houses in Motion. I love that track off of Remain in Light. But also just a really great talent. And the news dropped this week too, is I believe here that David Byrne they're going to be putting on a play here in Chicago pretty soon here called Theater of the Mind. They just talked about this last week. He was on the news. It's going to be running from March 11th to May 31st. I'm very interested into seeing this. This is going to be at the Goodman Theater, which I've never been to. So what a great time to go to the Goodman and to see David Byrne or watch his stuff. And looks like you'll be at the show. I can't wait to hear. Please, please, please let me know. But either if you're going to the show or if you end up going to this theater of the mind, it sounds very awesome and very interesting, all wrapped up. Um, Back to Echo and the Bunnymen. Boy, is Echo and the Bunnymen awesome. And I wish I could just dedicate 19 hours in a row of talking about Echo and the Bunnymen, or just their cover of People Are Strange. But when you talk about a cool Halloween song, when you really think about it, Lips Like Sugar, that's got to be a great Halloween track. I mean, when you really think about it, Lips Like Sugar, because of all the candy that people eat on Halloween, of course. But these guys could put out some, what's the word I'm looking for? Some Killing Moon. You go People Are Strange, Lips Like Sugar, and Killing Moon, and you put that on any Halloween playlist, you are pretty much in line to, just be known as having a really awesome soundtrack when you think about it. But really cool tracks here by the band, Echo and the Bunnymen. So again, it's been a while since you've dug into any Echo and the Bunnymen. Take some time and do that. A very scary track. Don't talk about Led Zeppelin a lot on the show here, but lately, for some unknown reason, I just keep playing No Quarter. I keep playing No Quarter a lot. For some unknown reason, it sounds very scary. It sounds eerie. The keyboards sound eerie, and that guitar riff is pretty awesome. I still remember bringing the guitar riff to my guitar teacher and him trying to show me, and I don't think I ever mastered it. I think I went home and tried my hardest and I did not get it. But I should have tried harder and should have mastered it, because then I would have maybe been the musician that I dreamed of being. But that being said, No Quarter, very, very scary, awesome song. If you're not familiar with what No Quarter means, it's pretty much when you are fighting in a battle and you even know you're going to lose, and you still keep going until there's no more. And that's what's awesome about the song No Quarter. Very, very scary stuff. Another great track, kind of Halloween based if you think about it. And I'm still curious what it means. How can you be saved by zero? So I've been thinking about this all week. The only way I think about being saved by zero is like if you got $1,000 and you add a zero at the end and it's 10,000, or 2 zeros, 100,000. But talk about an awesome track. My favorite part of the song, Saved by Zero, is the end when he's like, say by zero, say by. He's like, all these cool vocal things are going on. Awesome track, The Fix. Another awesome band that fits pretty much greatly on any kind of Halloween playlist. But Saved by Zero is an awesome song. If you have not listened to that one in a while, please go ahead and do so. Sadly, we are coming closely here to the end of our Halloween soiree, and it just wouldn't be a Halloween soiree if I just didn't talk a little bit about some Tales from the Crypt, some music stuff. And you're saying, they had music stuff on Tales from the Crypt? Yes, they did. They sure did. They had a couple different things. Let's start with the fact that the tune that started the show, amazing. Let's start that it was composed by Mr. Danny Elfman of Oingo Boingo. Let's also dig in a little bit deeper into the show and say such awesome guest stars like Greg Allman made an appearance on the show, which is, when you think about it, Greg Allman on Tales from the Crypt, that's kind of really cool when you think about it. But if you're going a little bit deeper on the show itself, a really, 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 really good time. There's a whole episode earlier, not mere 8-10 minutes ago, I was talking about the Lost Boys soundtrack. And I talked about one, Roger Daltrey from The Who. Roger Daltrey stars in a whole episode, and this is who his co-star is, Steve Buscemi. You can't tell me that's not awesome. Daltrey, Buscemi, Tales from the Crypt. But that's what's great about the show, is that they brought in awesome actors and awesome musicians, and they just had some really awesome songs at the beginning and mixed it all up for really, really coolness. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Again, right up there above me, like I said at the beginning, please feel free to donate if you can. All donations are appreciated. Also, if you can, go back and check out all the awesome stuff on the YouTube channel that we got popping. We got some awesome 31 Days of Horror by my main man Yump and co-host of At the Show. He's been digging into some great movies. Babadook was a recent one. A couple, I think a week ago, was like Idle Hands. Really, really good stuff there. Really put in a lot of hard work. And if you love that horror genre, it's awesome there. Go back and check out my main man, second main man, my main squeeze. No, Brian, he is definitely put on a great show last night. So check out It's Getting Drafty in here. They talked about Chicago athletes. Go back and check that out. Check back our last week's James Bond episode. We talked about Moonraker. Great music in that. We'll be back next week talking about more James Bond. Also check out Reel to Reel. They talked about Toxic Avenger. Go to the website and check out all the cool articles at sadisticpenguinstudios.com. My name is Tony, and this is the Hookup on Music. And let me just tell you all out there, thank you so much. I really appreciate you listening. And I also want to say, if you are having some Halloween fun tomorrow, please be safe. Please play the music extra loud for myself and yourself. That's how all the music should be played. And if anything else, just remember what Echo and the Bunnymen said. People are strange. Everybody out there, this has been episode 132. Take care and have a good rest of your week, and we will talk soon. Take care.
Thank you for listening. Please look out for the audio version wherever you jam.